Ezra Miller has been in the news a lot recently as they have been all over the world doing some pretty horrible things. While we don't know exactly what has been happening, we do know that it's some really bad stuff. One person abused by Miller recently came out, and we have their story today. So stay tuned to today's video as we discuss how Ezra Miller's accuser breaks silence as another woman claims harassment. First up, we have Ezra Miller's victim comes out against them. If you somehow haven't heard of Ezra Miller's antics over the last few months, then we are going to talk about them in this video. Ezra has been all over the world recently as they have been traveling around. There have now been multiple instances of them assaulting women, men, and just attacking people for no reason. One case recently also saw them avoiding police after they kidnapped a child. The biggest and most important case we are talking about today comes from recent allegations of Ezra assaulting someone back in 2020. Since last month, two women have come out to say Ezra Miller had allegedly been threatening them. One replied that she was a victim of a choking attack outside of a bar in 2020 in Iceland and has broken her silence on the incident. The woman said that Ezra put her in a chokehold and threw her to the ground. She blamed Miller's friends for escalating the situation rather than the actor themselves. I think it's just fun and games. But then it wasn't. All of a sudden, they're on top of me, choking me, still screaming in my face if I want to fight. She said that Miller even spat in her friend's face many times during the incident, and this was during peak COVID. This is crazy that this is even happening, especially after the recent success of the Flash trailer. Miller should be at the peak of their career, but something's happening to cause all of this. Is it some mental issue or something we just don't know about? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Another woman also spoke about being abused by Ezra. She said that Miller allegedly attempted to break into her apartment in Berlin last year. I did not feel safe, she said, recalling how Miller refused to leave her apartment after the woman said they couldn't smoke inside. They called her a Nazi and a transphobic piece of shit, and eventually left after she had called the police. It wasn't even reported the other week that Miller was accused of housing a mother and her 3 young children in a farm. The situation was dire as firearms, ammunition, and drugs were around. Miller declined to comment on any of these situations and has been away from social media for months now, only appearing for the odd story to mock the police during their escape. This is just a crazy situation and something really needs to happen, especially with the Flash movie coming out. We don't know if this movie's even going to release at this point, as no one online seems to like Miller at this point. The film was looking really promising as well, with Michael Keaton reprising his role as the Batman and the setup for the next stage of the DC cinematic universe. Clearly things most likely won't be going ahead, but Miller could easily be recast due to the Flash's time travel and mixing up of universes. Let us know how you feel about all of this down in the comments below. And now, on to some other celebrity news in the last few weeks. Next up, Chris Pratt confesses Harrison Ford scared him on Indiana Jones. The next installment of the Indiana Jones franchise should be coming out later this year after many years of delays and many months of pushbacks. We don't know the exact release date of the film right now, but it should be coming towards the end of 2022. A poster even said so. Harrison Ford is of course reprising his role as the iconic Indiana Jones in his hopefully final outing as the character. We say hopeful as Ford is getting pretty old for the role and can't do the action or stunts anymore, but also because a reboot might just be around the corner. The ending of this new Indiana Jones movie will either see the death of the character or the long-awaited retirement Indy really deserves. Something nice after all of this. When it comes to the possible reboot, fans have been looking at actors to take on the role of Indiana Jones, but Harrison Ford himself seems pretty clear on the situation. Chris Pratt has been in the news because he's possibly taken over as Indiana Jones in this reboot. Whilst nothing's confirmed, he has addressed a few of the rumors, saying he spoke to Harrison Ford about the situation. Pratt won't be donning the whip and the iconic outfit anytime soon, as his career has a lot of other places to go. He said that himself during an interview with Variety. When talking about possibly taking on the role as Indy, he made one thing clear, that he doesn't think it's going to happen anytime soon. During the interview, he said he found a quote from Harrison Ford, but doesn't really know if it's him or not, but it would scare him. The quote goes, "When I die, Indiana Jones dies," which makes a lot of sense when you think about Harrison Ford, but it does contradict a little bit when looking at other interviews. At one point, he said this about Han Solo, but as we know, the Solo movie was released, and he was pretty involved in that because he really liked the casting. Maybe Indy means a lot more to him as he had a lot more crave control over the character compared to his role as Han Solo in Star Wars. This new Indy movie is looking really cool, but could also flop depending on how Ford acts. He's getting really old, and he doesn't seem to be able to perform the stunts he once could. We saw another Indiana Jones kind of take the role with Shia LaBeouf in the previous Indiana Jones movie, and as we all know, that didn't go down very well with fans and critics. Even Ford himself wasn't too happy on the idea, but went through because he really enjoys the character. Being that this is the last outing of Indiana Jones, it should go off with a bang. We hope so, at least. The tales of this fictional professor, an archaeologist, are coming to an end, and we can't wait to see what happens. And now, Kanye West returns to Instagram in a shocking way. Just a few months ago now, we saw Kanye West wipe his Instagram profile clean after he was banned for 24 hours. Now, just a few days ago, he has seemingly returned to the platform, but in a much different way than we anticipated. He returned bragging about the sales of his Gap hoodies and was begging for a meeting with the Gap executive and chairman CEO Bob L. Martin. Kanye loves Gap, as his sales have been really well with the company, and also he has a lot of sentimental value with them, as growing up, he worked there as a teenager. Not long ago, he signed a massive deal with the company to create men, women, and kids apparel under his Yeezy brand. Trying to get a meeting, he said, "Bob, I need to meet with you as soon as possible," on his Instagram page. As we all know, this is a very Kanye thing to do, and he's done stuff like this in the past to try and get attention of others. He's not a very conventional guy when it comes to this, and had some problems of his own. Many attacked the star for his problems, but when you really understand Kanye as a man and his mental issues, you get why he's doing this. The recent Gap sales have been pretty good for West in the past, but Gap hasn't had the best relationship with the star. One product line in 2020 did that poorly that they had to change the corporate expectations. West can clearly pull in the money for a company like Gap, but if in past times it hasn't pulled through, they might not see him as such a large money bringer anymore. Kanye has been a controversial figure over this last year or so. Since his divorce from Kim Kardashian, he's pulled many public stunts trying to get her back and trying to attack her current boyfriend Pete Davidson. He's just doing this for his kids, as he really wants a relationship with them, and those true fans can see that. However, the public see him in a different way. They see him as some maniacal crazy man who knows what he wants and is trying everything to get it. He's not in the best situation to represent a brand right now other than his own. His own brand Yeezy brings in a lot of money, but that's mainly from his own fans and those that understand the artist. We don't know what the future will hold for Kanye and his endeavors with brands, but we hope they stick around because he does bring in the money for them. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comments section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye.